Jack Ulrich, Senior Technician on the Ping van. I have an order. Tyrrell Hatton would like a backup driver. That's what these pros want. They find a good one. They want one exactly the same. Can't understand why Tyrrell would need another driver, but Jack, there we are. I feel like someone coming into the Master Chef.
Yes, sir. Well, you're right. If anybody needs a backup driver, it's definitely going to be Tyrrell.
All right.
So let's get ready.
But obviously he's found a good one and he wants exactly the same one.
Absolutely. Okay. We're going to do the best we can. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we got everything we need that's on the order form. So he plays a Mitsubishi shaft, the Diamana TB60TX. He tips it a 1/2 inch, so we're going to go straight to our Mitsubishi drawer. Find the correct shaft. There it is. Take it out of its wrapper and then throw this away.
All very clean and clinically here in the
Try to keep it as clean as we can. So we've got the right shaft. We're next going to turn to our cut saw.
Okay.
And basically what this is going to do, we're going to cut a 1/2 inch off that tip end.
Tip it, yep.
It's just going to help reduce some of the spin and just tighten up that dispersion for him a little bit.
Okay.
So obviously that's what he's found is works for him, what he likes. So we're going to make sure we make that exactly the same. We've got a nice ruler. It's kind of a cheat system here.
I remember back in the day with steel, I'm a driver, when we first started with metal, if you didn't do that and clean it up in that machine, you used to leave it in there and you could hear a little tinky, 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 tinky back in the day. Long time ago. Jack, don't take any notice of me. You keep going with Tyrrell's driver.
All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to prep the tip end of the shaft to glue that sleeve on there.
Gotcha.
Obviously there's paint on here now, so just to increase the chances that bond's going to stay nice and secure once we glue it together, just going to need to remove that paint. Everybody does a little bit differently. On the truck, we use basically this round file to help shave some of that paint off. So we'll basically just take it and then move the shaft around in my left hand and get that paint off so we'll be ready to glue it together.
Just to give it some grip.
Yes, sir.
We don't want Tyrrell's head flying off.
No, we do not. So it's ready to go. And obviously we need the sleeve that we're going to use. And then we also have a proprietary plastic piece. We call it a shafting tree. This one's just going to go down the tip end of the shaft so that no epoxy goes up the shaft when we glue it together. Get our tape. The other important thing too is to check what setting he plays. He plays a 10.5 degree driver in the small minus. So we're going to make sure that the
small
graphics,
minus, please explain. I know the 10.5, we all know that.
So 10.5 degrees will be the starting
loft. A lot of loft for a driver, isn't it?
A lot of loft, and again, all these players, depending on how they swing, how they come into impact, some players might need more loft, some players need less loft. Yeah. And obviously out here, almost down to the 1/4 of a degree, we're going to try to dial in as much as we can to get the launch and spin how they want it. So the starting loft's going to be 10.5. He plays in the small minus position, which takes about a degree off.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. We use a 2-part epoxy. Scored about that much out. And these are basically just some crushed up glass. Again, it's going to help give it some grit so that it'll hold it together just a little bit better.
Well, look at that. Like sand.
Get our stick. Yes, sir.
Sand will do it.
Exactly. We'll mix it up, give it a good mix. And drop some epoxy in the sleeve. And we'll take our shaft, roll it around in that epoxy. Give it a little roll,
yeah. The roughed up areas so it grabs, it bonds, on it goes.
Put it together, on it goes.
And how long will that take to dry?
Our epoxy cures in about 10 minutes.
Lovely.
But we're actually going to let it sit for a little bit and then put it in what we call a heat cell, which will just accelerate that process a little bit. And it'll take about 5 minutes for it to cure totally.
So he can hit that, Tyrrell can give that a wallop in 15 minutes.
Roughly, yeah. If we had nothing else going on, we needed to get it done quickly, we could get a driver done and ready for him to hit and test in about 15, 20 minutes. So we're just gonna make sure that those graphics again are lined up in that small minus setting. And then
So he's not looking at anything down
the
the shaft.
address position, yes sir. Clean that up with some alcohol. And then we'll set it in here for about a couple minutes. This basically helps the sleeve and the shaft set in the sleeve at a certain angle so that we know it's going to read true when we start messing around and looking for the correct loft and going through the heads that
It's
we have on the
high-tech
truck.
stuff,
So,
Jack, isn't it?
yeah, we try to be high-tech.
And this is what you all get. The same thing from Ping. Everything's the same. The pros don't get any preferential treatment. You guys get exactly the same as what they get. That's why Ping's, well, play your best. So Jack, this is almost cooked. This is almost like a drying microwave.
Exactly, that's a great way to describe it. So essentially what this is, we call it a heat cell. We can do a set of 8 irons in this, or we have pieces that correspond to our sleeves as well. So all this does is it basically accelerates that curing process. So a 10-minute epoxy, it'll cure and be set in 5 minutes. So it wraps around the hosel or it wraps around that sleeve. It'll heat up to 160 degrees, start counting down from 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, it's completely cured. You could actually go hit balls on the range if you wanted to at that point.
Ready to slip the driver on.
Now we're ready to slip the driver on. We're gonna cut it to what length it needs to be, and then we'll go through some heads to see if we can find the right loft
Let's do
in
that.
that small minus
Okay.
set. So we'll walk over here.
Yep.
We've got a head already set aside
Yeah.
for Tyrrell. Again, he plays a 10.5 degree
Yeah.
driver,
Okay.
a G430 LS Tech. He plays it at about 8.75 degree loft, actual loft measured, and this is our digital loft and lie gauge for metalwoods in that small minus setting. So what we're gonna do is go through some heads, see if we can find one that has as close to that 8.75 degree number as possible.
Okay.
Again, we're trying to make this exactly, or as close to exactly the same as we can, so it'll be a backup driver for him.
Okay.
So we're gonna put the head on the shaft, again in that small minus setting.
That's it.
We're done. Then we're gonna cut to the length that he plays,
What's
which
his
is 45 3/4.
Is that long or short for most? He's not a tall man.
Our typical length is 45 1/4. He plays a little bit longer. It's about a ½ inch longer for
Does
what
he?
we typically build out here.
Okay.
I'd say on average, we have a very wide range of lengths amongst players, anywhere from 44 1/4 to 46,
Yes.
which is now the legal limit. So 45 3/4, Tyrrell's actually on the longer end of that. But
Interesting.
we'll go ahead and cut it, and then we'll start going and measuring some
Okay.
heads. And once we've cut, we'll measure it again. Kind of that old adage, you measure twice, cut once, and we're right at the right
Bang on.
length. Correct. And again, this is our
Because you know a pro golfer, first thing he'll do with his backup, he'll put it right next to the other one and he'll see what the length is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they all do. We
We're
all
one
do.
of the first things that they check.
Yep.
Again, this is our digital loft and lie gauge. So we've got a 10.5 degree head in that small minus setting. We're going to try it again to find a head that's as close to that 8.75 number as possible. And once we have the head squared up, we do have a nice silver dot marked right in the middle, so we know exactly where the middle of the face is. Bang on, we're good.
Tyrrell
one out
Hatton,
the
it's your
drawer.
lucky day. Hoo-ha!
So then what we'll do, we're gonna write down the serial number for the driver so we can record it into our system. So we know we can go back, look up exactly what we did to this driver if he wants another backup down the road. Once we do that, we'll put the grip on, add some weight to the head, and then it'll be ready to go.
It's ready to go. You put the grip on. Let's show these folk how quick the grips go on. They go on like, that's just, which is your favourite part and which isn't your favourite part? Is gripping.
The gripping's always fun because we use
You
a
find it
spiral
fun?
tape. Yeah.
Really?
We use a little different tape than most other people. We still use that spiral tape.
Go on.
And then we can customize a lot more, at least in my opinion, how many wraps go underneath your right hand, your left hand, top hand, bottom hand, if
Gotcha.
you're right or left-handed. So Tyrrell plays a grip with an extra wrap and logo down. So
A longer driver and a thicker grip.
longer driver and a thicker grip. And he also likes to kind of color coordinate depending on the color of the shaft. So he plays a multi-compound +4 with one extra wrap.
So he'll want a blue one.
So he wants a blue one to match the blue color of the shaft that he plays.
Clever Tyrrell.
So we'll mark the length of the grip. He plays one extra wrap. So we have two different build-up tapes that we use.
Gotcha.
It's our standard tape. This is our black tape, we call it. It's
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 of the masking tape that we use.
Okay.
So he plays just one wrap, which is the masking tape, our standard build-up tape. The reason we still use spiral tape as well is because it doesn't overlap when you put it on the shaft, so you never get a false ridge underneath the
Gotcha,
grip that
yes.
somebody could feel.
Yeah,
Especially,
you can feel little lumps. You can feel, it's quite incredible.
especially with the grip, because that's your only
Yeah.
contact point with the club.
It's like this feeling of your steering wheel in your car. You sort of use it every day. It sort of becomes familiar, doesn't it?
Exactly. We've put our build-up tape on. Now our double-sided tape will go on, and this is the fun part. We can actually make it go pretty quick
Yeah.
with our spindle. And we're ready
And what
to put the
liquid
grip
do
on.
you use to put on? Or you just blow it on?
We use
No liquid anymore. Petrol in my day when I used to do the members back in Sydney as a budding young professional golfer trainee.
we use just a odorless mineral spirits,
Okay. Yeah.
which you can buy at a hardware
Yeah,
store.
Absolutely.
And again, he likes the logo down.
He likes a lot of things out, Tyrrell. Very nice, just covering the bottom of it.
Covering the bottom of it. We'll grab one more. Make sure the length is exactly the same.
Yep, and it is. Okay, looking good.
All right. Have a look.
Oh, it's magnificent. It truly is. The grip's a bit thick for me, but I haven't got huge hands. But it's a beautiful looking thing. What next, Jack?
All right, the last thing we're gonna do is add some internal weighting to the head.
And how does
that
he like
Tyrrell
that?
likes. If we go over to our order form, Tyrrell plays 5 grams additional heel weight and then 4 grams forward.
Gotcha.
And we do an 11-gram back weight here. So that's what we'll do first. Go into our drawer here, get the right back weight. And again, that's all been recorded from his backup driver, or from his current gamer driver, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now we'll put it on our swing weight scale, which will measure the swing weight.
Okay.
And we know one full squeeze of our hot melt gun is about 5 grams.
Okay.
So 5 grams heel. The needle actually goes in this little port here.
Right.
And then it comes out, it's very hot, so we can actually feel where that hot melt goes.
Okay.
And again, he does that just to influence ball flight the way he likes to. So 5 grams heel is just gonna allow him to see the shot shape and start on the line that he likes. And then 4 grams forward, just help reduce some spin a little bit.
Tyrrell doesn't move it much in the air, to be honest. I did a round with radar with him and he drove it so very straight.
On a string, right?
Yeah, like straight ball hitter, not a fade, not a draw. Quite incredible.
And he likes D3 swing weight. So right now, it's about
D2 being the average?
D4 is pretty normal
Okay.
out here. One swing weight on a driver is about 1.5 grams, so it's not a ton. And we'll hold the driver this way. You can actually put your fingers right here. You can feel how hot it is.
Yeah.
Towards the heel side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's hot there.
Yeah, very hot. So you don't want to leave it there too long. Your fingers will get burnt. But if you hold it in this position, we know that hot melt's going to settle and it won't move around. So it helps with the influence ball flight. Can help with sound. You've probably heard it referred to as rat glue as well. So if there does happen to be anything loose inside the head, it'll actually catch onto that so that it doesn't go moving around. But we'll hold it there for maybe 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Put it back on the scale, and then see how much more hot melt we need to add to get to D3, and then the driver's ready to go.
You've done the back one, now you're doing the forward one.
Yep, we've done the heel weight, now we're doing the forward weight. And again, we'll hold it in a position where it'll settle more towards the face.
Right.
And leave it there, and again, about 30 seconds, it'll settle where it needs to. And then we'll just keep measuring it on the swing weight scale until we get it right where it needs to be.
How long does it take you to do the whole driver? What,
whole driver,
half an hour?
15 minutes.
15 minutes, really? That's
15, 20 minutes.
That's down pat. That's
pretty quick.
Pretty cool, yeah. All right. Let's hope it's bang on.
Put it back on our swing weight scale.
And it has to be D3,
has to
Jack.
be
like
D3, exactly.
Right on the knocker.
Right on the knocket. D3, we're ready to go.
You got it.
So last thing we're gonna do is put that hot melt screw in. Plugs up that port, clean it up, put a head cover on, and you can take it with you.
A little buff. Look at this.
Grab our head cover. There you are, sir.
Absolutely magnificent. Look, for Tyrrell. Jack, thanks so very much.
My pleasure.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out to the range and give this to Tyrrell. Okay? Okay, I'll just do that. Tyrrell, you got as much chance of seeing this driver as